All right. Good morning. Welcome back. Welcome. How's everyone doing today? Vincent's grandfather. Grandpa, if you're watching, hey, hope you're feeling good. I asked if he heard my call out yesterday. He said he didn't watch that long, so maybe he's here right now. Shout out Grandpa Ralph for watching the streams. Good morning, guys. Welcome back. Yesterday, nice little day. Some meta puts. Nice quick downside on those. I did hold some for some potential more continuation. So we'll see how that works out today. That was my only trade yesterday. Really, a lot of straight up out of the gates yesterday again, which is something we've been seeing pretty lately. We've been seeing a lot of vertical out of the gates, sometimes hard to catch. So I try to stay away from that vertical out of the gates. The vertical out of the gates is good for my shares. That's always what's in the back of my head. Don't chase it. Just let the shares, soak it up. That's sort of what I think in the back of my head when I see that. Yeah, there's some nice pullback opportunities out there for sure that I'm watching today. Some nice potential trade setups. There's some nice stuff out there. Some big gap fills that are very possible. End phase, big gap above to watch. That's something I'm watching today. UNH has a gap. There's some nice stuff. Google on edge for some potential downside. So we'll see. We'll see how the market looks today. That's always our job, to sort of get a read on the NQES. Yesterday was a nice hold of that 380 level on the QQQ. If you guys saw that, we sort of held that 380 level intraday yesterday, and that's really what led to the upside yesterday. That 380 hold on the Qs, nice hold, and then pretty much from that point we just sort of slid to the upside from that 380 level. That was that 15,740 on the NASDAQ futures. So some nice upside yesterday. Pretty slow. Volume was light. It was sort of just that grind higher that we've seen. And we double topped right into that Friday high. So interesting little double top into that Friday high on the ES and the NQ. That's pretty much where the move stopped yesterday afternoon. So interesting day. Slide higher into the supply. Just pretty much an inside day, to be quite honest, from Friday's move. Today we got some bank earnings. Bank of America. I think we had Charles Schwab, Morgan Stanley. So some bank earnings this morning. And then tomorrow is the big one, right? Tomorrow's the big one. Netflix, Tesla. That will really be the market move. So I think yesterday and today, a little bit irrelevant for where the market's moving. Tomorrow's really going to give you that clear move, in my opinion, or at least it will be definitely influenced heavily by tomorrow's earnings. Yeah, solar's heating up. Yep, I see that. Enphase FSLR had good days yesterday, so we could keep an eye on that solar sector today. Enphase has a really interesting gap fill. That's something we'll talk about today. Yeah, it looks like beats across the board on the banks. Bank of America, Morgan Stanley. They're not really moving. So we'll see if there's really any movement off them. But they did have good earnings, it seems, from the banks. And then ESNQ just sort of sitting sideways this morning. Not much movement. Similar to yesterday pre-market. Sort of a sideways pre-market. So we'll get the levels all right. We'll get the levels all set up. Pretty much a mixed bag yesterday as well, if you guys realized, which we've seen as well lately. we've seen a little bit of a mixed bag. Some names strong, some names sort of weak. Yesterday, Nvidia had slight weakness in the morning. We saw some semiconductor weakness to start the morning. AMD, Nvidia, those crawled back. We had some very nice strength on a few names. Tesla was strong out of the gates yesterday. We had a few other tech names. Apple on that 4-hour flag break, that was sick. So a little bit of a mixed bag on the tech sector. Yeah, that was sort of my read of yesterday. Really wasn't a whole lot going on. I'm just looking at my watch list to see if I remember anything else. But a pretty mixed bag, and really nothing crazy. Nothing made anything major. No major moves. Besides Apple. I think Apple was probably one of the bigger breakout moves that I saw yesterday. So let's get started. Welcome back, guys. Press that like button if you could. Subscribe to the channel. Let's get into the schedule. So the schedule today is, as always, economic earnings calendar. This morning we do have retail sales. So let me pull that up real quick. We got the retail sales at 8:30. We'll see if there's anything that gets anything moves off that today. So right here you have retail sales, 8:30. We'll see that live. We'll see the reaction there. Industrial production, capacity utilization, business inventories, home builder confidence, and then our Vice President, can't talk. Fed Vice Chairman Barr speaks on fair lending practices. So I don't really know if that will do much, but really the main thing today is retail sales. Tomorrow, not much. Thursday, jobless claims. And then next week, right? We said this yesterday. Next week's the big one. Next week, FOMC and the press conference from Jerome Powell. So that's our FOMC day next week on Wednesday. But this week, really, tomorrow is going to be, sort of that main catalyst of the week, Tesla, Netflix earnings. Okay, let's go into the earnings calendar so that we can see once again what is reporting. I have a nice, clean earnings calendar for you here. It's nice and easy to read. Thanks, Maku, for posting this. Here we go. Today, right, this morning, back, Charles Schwab, Morgan Stanley, Lockheed Martin, PNC, BNY Mellon. So some smaller banks, nothing major. Obviously, back in Morgan Stanley, Charles Schwab, the bigger ones. Interactive brokers, we'll see how they do. I'm always a fan of interactive brokers, so I'd love to see them do well. They definitely collect commissions, I'll tell you that. So interactive brokers tonight, after hours. Tomorrow morning, big bank, Goldman Sachs, ASML. Some smaller banks here, Ally, some regional banks there. Tesla, Netflix, United, IBM. That's tomorrow after hours. TSM before open Thursday. American Airlines, J&J, Blackstone, CSX, sort of industrial. American Airlines, American Express, and that really wraps up your week. So there's your earnings. That's our first week. Next week, I think it gets a little heavier. But this is always sort of that first week. You get that Tesla, that Netflix, you get those banks. So that is the earnings calendar. All right. Tesla 285 hold, really nice yesterday. Nice pullback and then a really clean hold at 285. We'll take a look, sort of get an idea of Tesla today. Again, remember, IV is going to be high. I was sort of watching the contracts yesterday. They didn't move too bad yesterday, actually, with the Tesla upside in the morning. So we'll see what the IV is today. Yesterday, I think it was around 80%. Apple 4-hour flag was really nice. Congrats if you guys caught that one. Google is sitting at a major demand that needs to hold today. AMD was able to get above 116.50, but AMD, if you guys watched it yesterday morning, had a nasty downside off this level and was able to regain the entire move. So AMD interesting today over that 116. Nvidia 465. The meta rejections that I'm spotting and why I'm still holding is part of my position here. And then Enphase gap fill. Enphase FSLR were strong yesterday. And Enphase is looking real interesting here. I'm going to definitely watch this one today. It was very strong yesterday. FSLR was strong yesterday as well. So could see some opportunity here on Enphase, something I want to point out. All right. Let's jump into it. NASDAQ. So yesterday, what happened, right? What happened yesterday that caused the upside? It was right here. This was it right here. This little area. It was about long consolidation, like an hour-long consolidation that was just sitting right above that our level, our 15,740 level, right? So we had our supply set up here from yesterday. We had this, right? We had this supply. We had this area red. It was marked out, and we got above it, right? We got below it. We got back above it. And then if I zoom in here on the 5-minute chart into yesterday's intraday, you can see sort of that hold that was sort of sitting above that 15,740. All these wicks, all this hold, right, right at that 740 level led to our upside yesterday intraday. Volume was very light. So this is something that I'm a little bit interested in, right? If I go to the daily chart, I think you'll be able to, yeah. So here's the daily chart on the ES, right? And just look at the volume bars below. Don't worry about the chart here. But that's your yesterday volume, right? That is a very, very low volume day. So is it a conviction upside move yesterday? I don't think so. I think it was a little bit just of a melt up, just a really slow, you guys saw it in the price action if you watched it intraday yesterday, just a really slow melt higher. Obviously some nice setups to the upside, but just be aware of that, right? This volume yesterday was extremely light. NQ a little bit, but obviously lighter than the average. SPY, there's your volume on the SPY yesterday. Very much lower than the average there. Actually, one of the lowest volume days since May 8th, right around here. So one of the lowest volume days in the SPY there yesterday. On the QQQ, yeah, same exact story there. So interesting to see that, sort of that slow melt higher. I think it's just having to do with earnings coming up. Conviction might not be there. Conviction to the upside might not be there too aggressive, but you sort of just melted higher after holding that 15,740 there yesterday. So you saw the upside, right? You got that upside push. You pushed right into the Friday highs, right? So you went from this demand to this supply up at this 15,860. This Friday high is what held the NASDAQ lower into close, right? Into close, we had a pretty nasty rejection of that Friday high. So we know where our supply is. We know where our 15,740 demand is. We can see we're sort of just on an inside day here between that Friday move, right? Here's your Friday move. Here's your yesterday move. It pretty much just moved within this range again. So today, if we zoom into today's price action, it's pretty clear, right? You can see our little pre-market low demand around that 15.8, right? You can see right here, we held that 15.8. This was a 15.8 previous high from intraday yesterday. That's really where the NASDAQ will need to hold if you want to see this try to maintain higher. 15.8 break could lead to some downside, so watch that 15.8 level today. I think that's your very important pre-market low to be watching here on the NASDAQ. To the upside, right, 15.860. That's your Friday high. I'm actually going to put this right at 860. 15,860, that's your Friday high. That's your yesterday rejection, right? So you can see that right here. If I zoom out, let me get the 5-minute chart here. Here's your 5-minute chart, day over day. There's your Friday high. There's your yesterday high. And there's your supply sitting right above. So tight range here. Be careful, right? If you see the NASDAQ pop here, be careful of longing right at the 15,860. If you see the NASDAQ break down this morning, be careful of shorting at 15.8, right? We want to see that channel break. This was your channel break yesterday, right? And if you were patient on this, I didn't catch this. It was just so slow yesterday that I didn't build the confidence to go long here, which would have been nice, right? You're never going to catch it all. I didn't really like the longs here because of the price action I was seeing, but it ended up being a nice slide to the upside. This was your channel break yesterday, right? So we had this channel. This is sort of what we were, if I could recreate what we were looking at yesterday, this is what my chart looked like yesterday. All right, so we came into the morning yesterday. I'm going to go and zoom in here. We came into the the pre-market live stream yesterday, and we were looking at this, right? We were looking at supply highs at 740, demand lows at 660, and we said if we can break this channel and hold above it, or if we hold below it, then that's your real move. So yesterday, right, you can see right here, that was sort of that trigger to go long. We broke above, we held above. That's similar to what you're going to want to see today. So if you want to get that upside continuation move, you're going to want to see the same upside, right? Consolidation, right? Nice demand that holds on here, and then you can get that trigger for more upside. Before that, right, you just have to be a little cautious of the channel high and the channel low. Let me turn this back to green. I believe I have this at like 82. That's about right. So that's your NASDAQ. I mean, pretty easy read right now. I sort of like these pre-market sideways moves because you get to see the channel, right? It really shows you its hand. It shows you where does it need to get above, where does it need to get below, and where do we need to be aware of the channel rules between like the 860 and the 800. So right now, about a 60-point range on the NASDAQ. That's really all I got for you, right? If you get that drop below 800, you probably could move to that 740 again. If you move above that 860, you're probably going to see that upside continuation. Yeah, probably to that 16,000 really is your next level here. Let me see if I can get that clean, get you to see that pretty clean. I know it's a little messy here. But the 16,000, it's going to be hard for me to sort of show here, but I'll try my best. Once you have to zoom out so much that it just gets sort of sloppy. I know what I'm looking at, but I'm trying my best to show you what I'm looking at. Right here, 16,000, 16,000, 16,000, 16,000 on the NASDAQ, right? That's really your next level above. If we are to hold above yesterday's highs, hold above Friday's highs, really your next move is up to this 16K. All right, that's right up here. Move this down, 16,000. So 15,860, 15,800 today. That's your immediate short-term levels to watch here. Very clear channel this morning. Let's see if we can break either side. QQQ, it's 382 to around 383. It's about a dollar point range. You guys can see that this morning pretty clearly. QQQ trying to hold this previous high. Right here in the pre-market, it's holding as demand at 382. That has to hold, right? We have to see 382 hold. If we see 382 hold, then we can look for that further upside continuation into that Friday high at 382.85. I would call it 383. It's not perfect, right? We can see it's not perfect by any means, but you can see we rejected here. We rejected here yesterday. I would just be a little cautious up here around that 383 on the QQQ. Here's your little flat line here this morning at the 382 level. That is going to be the level that you need to see hold. Now, right, yesterday, same thing. If we go to the 5-minute chart, yesterday, 380 was that level we said we need to see the QQQ above 380 to get that long confirmation. Here's your 380, here's your 380, here's your 380. And then if we zoom in on the 5-minute chart yesterday, look at QQQ above 380 yesterday. Very nice. Right there, 380, multiple wicks on that 5-minute chart, and eventually it led to that further upside. I didn't go long here, right? In hindsight, it's, you can clearly say, longs off 380 made a lot of sense, which they did, right? You could have taken that shot. I was just watching the price action pretty much until 11:30, 12 o'clock yesterday, and I was just like, I don't know if I want to be involved in this. Just watching this for an hour, seeing it hold above, which was good, right? It was continuing to hold above. I didn't expect to see, any type of an explosive move after reading this price action. But hey, right, that's the market, right? The market can wake up at any moment. It looks like it started to wake up around that 11:30 time, finally breaking off of that 380 level, sort of giving you that upside move. So 380 was a really nice hold yesterday. That really set up your longs. That's going to be the same concept of the 383 level today. If you can get that same 380 hold up here above 383, then you might be able to set that play up. ES. So the ES, if we go to the 30-minute, you guys can see pretty clear channel this morning, this 48.50 level. Once we got above, this was our hold from yesterday. This was that 45.28 level we talked about, right? That 45.28 double bottom held nicely. We were talking about that 45.40. If I go to the 5-minute chart, you guys can see right here, we had a little flag. I'm actually going to go to the 2-minute because it actually looked pretty good on the 2-minute. I was spotting that yesterday. So here is your here's your 2-minute chart. And so you can see here on the 2-minute, I know it might be a little hard to read, but right here, right, you saw all these lows around this 45.38, 45.40 on the ES. And then look at what it did at that level yesterday, right here. See this little flag that formed yesterday intraday? Right there. Nice little flag, right? Right at that 45.38 demand yesterday. That's sort of what led to your upside, right? You can see previous pre-market highs turning into a support there intraday. That's pretty much what led to your upside. Then you have this 45.50, right? If I go to the 5-minute, you can see this 45.50 level. That's what's trying to hold on this morning, right here. 45.50, 45.50 holds, 45.50 rejections, 45.50 hold yesterday, and all in the pre-market today, 45.50. So that's going to be your level that must hold today for that upside continuation. If you see 45.50 continue to maintain today, right, that could lead you to your next push back into the 45.60, which was the Friday high, which again was a double top. That's the same as the NASDAQ, right? The NASDAQ pushed into the Friday high, which rejected. ES did the same thing. We pushed into the Friday high, which rejected. So you got to watch that Friday high, right? That's going to be huge. That 45.60 Friday high, that's going to be big. You got to watch this 45.50, this pre-market low here. That's really your range, right? If you break the 45.50, you could see that 45.40 come in again. If you break the 45, if you break above the 60, hold above it, you could look for that upside continuation. So again, nice little channel this morning. I don't mind seeing this channel. The channel did well yesterday, right? We held that channel low yesterday. We got above the channel high. We held above it. That's pretty much what you're looking for today. If you break the 45.50 lows, you could get that slippage, right? If you break above these highs, you could get that upside continuation. SPY, it's 450.40. It's not just 450, right? It's a little bit further above than 450. This is 450 right here. That's 450 psych. It's a little bit higher than that. It's like 450.40 right here. You can see all pre-market, we've held that 450.40, right? Hold, 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 and we're trying to hold it again. So this morning, right, we're watching, why is it 450.40 also? Right here, right? You see this little high over here? That's the exact level that we're trying to hold on right now. This high right here from Thursday of last week, we are attempting to hold above that previous high. So if we can hold above that previous high, right, if the SPY can maintain this demand, then you could probably see another push into the Friday high, into the rejection from yesterday, up at that 451.40, 452 zone. 452 was where it really got crazy yesterday and then rejected pretty harshly. So yesterday, like towards end of day, you got this random spike, right, this sort of squeeze right past that supply into that 452. Into that 452. So, you know, hard to read when stuff like that happens because you don't know exactly which level it's going to reject here. You sort of just have to monitor price action. I'm going to leave my level at the majority of where that rejection came in, which was around this 451.50 to around this 451.40 right here. I'm actually going to put the zone in between that because that is sort of where those rejections at least start to come in, right? So you can see it starts around that 40, and then if we zoom in here, we can see yesterday it rejected around that 451.50 right here in the intraday trading right there towards end of day. So that's where I'm going to keep my zone. I'm going to keep it between 451.40 and 451.50, about a 10-cent range of potential rejections here on the upside, right? So watching that, right, we can see those rejections above. We can see that 450.4 demand below. That's our channel, right? Channel, the same channel as the ES, the same channel as the NQ, the same channel as the QQQ in the pre-market today. Very clear, real nice. Just got to watch it, right? Yesterday, 380 was it, right? 380 was our sign. Let's see if we can get another similar, consolidation hold above or below a level today to signal an entry point, right? That's really the signal. Yesterday's, the best trade of yesterday, right? The most structured trade of yesterday was longs off 380, right? That was the most structured trade of the day. Longs off 380. I didn't catch it, right? You're not going to catch every trade out there. You're not going to be able to be a part of the best move every single day. If you try to do that, it's probably going to fail miserably, right? You got to accept that sometimes you're just not going to catch it. That was a really nice hold yesterday. You know, looking back at it, I understand why it happened, and that's the most important, right? Go back, go look at yesterday's price action. If you didn't catch it, understand what happened, right? Read what caused the upside yesterday. And for me, right, I think this is the area that really caused that upside, that 380 hold and that break and hold above the supply high here at 380. So that was the key from yesterday. Mr. Jones really didn't go anywhere yesterday. Same exact 4-hour supply high here. That's just still rejecting. Right around that 34,850. You're still just sort of stuck below this 4-hour channel high. So be careful up here, right? Dow Jones sort of rejecting that same 4-hour channel high. If you can get above that 850, then maybe there's that upside continuation. But for now, you are sitting right at the 4-hour channel high, which dates back all the way to here too, right? This is the beginning of 2023. You are dating back all the way to the beginning of this year, and you're sitting right at that level. So big level there for the Dow. Russell, I think the Russell gave a little pullback yesterday, but never quite got to the retest. It looks like the Russell held at, let's see if we put this line to the left. Where does this line meet up? Does it meet up with anything, right? Where did that hold? Yeah, I mean, you could say, yeah. I mean, it held, right? If we put that line to the left, that's what I like to do sometimes, right? If I didn't see this line, right, because I was watching Russell, so what I like to do sometimes, I like this Russell, I like this level for a retest, this 1920, right? That's what I was looking for the Russell retest to go along. But, right, it didn't come back to there. It held right here, right at this 1940, right? You can see yesterday it held that 1940. So what I'll do is if I didn't have that level, I'll press on it, I'll right-click it, and I'll extend to the left, right? And then I will zoom out, and I'll see, okay, where was this level in play in the past, this 1940? And you can actually see it pretty easily now, right? Look at this, 1940, 1940, right? 1940 right there, right? So we can see there were some reactions at 1940 in the past, and now that sort of makes sense as to why the Russell held that level, all right? So little tip there to try to find some of those retest levels. There was a nice little hold at 1940 there on the Russell. So if the Russell's over 1940, if it's over 1920, you might still see that upside continuation. All right. Next level above is right here. It's at that 1973 on the Russell. You can see this little supply high right here. Actually, you know what? I'm going to take this red one, make it a little bit smaller. So your next supply is right here, right? There's your high, right? And then that's exactly where you rejected on the Russell yesterday. You can see right here. I'll zoom in right here, 1970 high, 1973, right? And if we zoom over, 1973, that was your rejection from yesterday. So here's your channel on the Russell today, 1940 to 1973. We just did that live. You guys can sort of watch how we found those levels, right? 1973, this high right here. 1940, that's your demand low for the day. All right? So there's your little Russell channel to monitor today. Again, very low volume yesterday on the Russell as well. So those are your futures. Let's wait. Let's get back into the ES here. Let's get that 5-minute chart up on the ES, and let's look for those retail sales. Let's see if it moves the market here. We got retail sales in about, it's coming out now. So let's see. See if there's any real movement here. Any breaks of levels, right? Not worried about the wicks to either side, just looking at key levels. Key levels would have to be a break under this low or a break above this high. If it's not a break above here or a break below here, it's just sort of an irrelevant move at this point. So nothing much yet there. SPY sort of wicking, not doing anything. Retail sales, 0.2 versus 0.5, so a little bit lower than expectations. Month over month, up 0.2 versus the expectation of up 0.5%. So a little bit lower on the retail sales versus expectations. Is that affecting any retail names? Most retail names don't really move in the pre-market because they're sort of slow stocks. Yeah, I mean, I don't expect to see much movement on retail in the pre-market here. What's the retail? Is there a retail ETF? XLP, sort of. Not really, but sort of. Sort of consumer staples. Probably gets affected by retail sales. Majority. What's in this, right? No, we don't want that. We want analyze. XLP has Costco, Pepsi, Procter & Gamble, Coca-Cola, Walmart, so Target. Yeah, I'd say the XLP is probably the most, probably one of the most. XRT. Okay, yeah, XRT retail as well. XLP, XRT probably have the most exposure to the data, but I don't think we're getting much. Okay, we're getting a little bit, but yeah, I mean, nothing yet. We'll see if we break this low. That's going to be the main thing to watch. You got to see if we break this low. That's really the biggest thing. Do we break this pre-market low? If we don't, right, then this is sort of irrelevant. So let me know if you guys see an ES break of that 48.48 or 45.48. Let me know if you get a break of, I don't think you're going to see much on the NASDAQ here, of that 15.8. Yeah, you're sort of just wicking around. All right, let's get into the stonks. Tesla. So, what did Tesla do yesterday? Tesla held that 285 level really well. It was a little bit shaky, right? It did get below it. I thought it would try to gap fill after it broke 285 yesterday, but it did not, right? It did not. It said, no way, Jose, I'm going up. So I thought, right, when I saw Tesla break this 285, I said, okay, this might try the gap fill. Let me get the 2-minute chart here for us. And let me get a few more days of price action. There we go. So when I saw Tesla break this 285 yesterday, I said to the group, watch out for that gap fill, right? Because there's really not much here. I was figuring maybe back to that 280, but it held. It held around this 283.50 level. So it sort of popped right back above that 285. It held above that 285 later day, and so that really was the level. 285 was really that level, right? You can see that previous day high that turned into a nice support, both, intraday yesterday here and again intraday yesterday there. If you go to the 5-minute chart, and we can zoom out here. Here's your day over day move on Tesla, right? Here was the previous day high, and here is where you try to maintain, and that was sort of the low of the day on Tesla, right? Right at the previous day high. So a nice hold there. Now we move over to today, right? And we can see Tesla's just sort of in between that 288 and that 292, right? You can see that 288 here, this previous high here, this hold here, right? This hold here, this 288.50, 288.60, right? And that 292. So tomorrow's earnings, right? Tomorrow's earnings, be careful of that fact. There might still be some trades on Tesla, right? Yesterday, Tesla just rallied out of the gates. I will never catch this move, ever. I will just never catch it, and it is what it is, right? I accept that as a trader. I'm okay with that. This move is difficult, right? You sort of just have to say, I'm long Tesla on the first candle, and I'm just going to long this thing. So, this was nice. It was a nice pop. Definitely a money maker if you caught it. Probably swing trades are the best way to catch that type of move. You got a very aggressive pullback. You had a nice demand hold. I would say you just watch this channel today. Watch to see if you get some reactions to the upside off 288.60s, this little pre-market low here, and then watch to see what happens if we push back into that 292. That's really it, the previous day highs, right? If Tesla's very strong today, right, if you get a real nice Tesla day, let's say it does show its strength, then your best entry will be right here, right? If Tesla wants to be that guy today, right, and wants to be strong, then you're looking for a break and hold above previous day highs, right? And that would probably be your best trade opportunity if you can get that break and hold above that previous day high, So look for that 292. That would be your best long opportunity today, in my opinion, if it really wants to be strong. All right. Apple, not Advanced Auto Parts. This was nice. This was pretty, right? This is just a pretty one. We talked about this one a few times. Apple 4-hour flag, right? You guys knew it was coming down into that 20 SMA. You know we've been talking about that 20. You pulled back into that 20 SMA. You wicked very nicely off of it. You created that flag right here. You created that bull flag. Yesterday, Friday, we held above that 190. And if we were talking about in the pre-market, that 190-120, right? So here was your 190-120 level right there, right? And we said if Apple can hold above that 190-120, that could lead to the upside continuation. That was Thursday's highs, and that was Friday's highs. So if we zoom in to yesterday's intraday, look at what happened in the pre-market. You broke 190-120, you held above it, and from that point, it was pretty much just a straight shot to the upside, right? 190-120 held very nicely. You completed that 4-hour bull flag really nicely, right? What a move on Apple that was. Now that move is done, right? Now that move is done, we need to be a little bit cautious. If you didn't catch that move, here's what you have to be careful of next. The next thing you got to watch out for is pretty apparent, right? You guys can see it right on your screen. It is the 194.50 high from previous week, right? 194.50 high from previous week. So what do we look for today? If we want to see that Apple start to really break out, right? If Apple's going to break out, what are we looking for today? Pretty easy, right? Pretty easy to read. We are looking for a 194.50 break and hold above. If we hold above that previous high and we can get a long entry above the previous day high, right? That could be some nice stuff. So let's look for that. I'm not too, I'll be cautious of just going long Apple. I don't want to be long it before this 194.50 break because I can see the supply that caused the downside back here. This is back on the 30th of June 30th. You saw that downside. You popped right back into it. You can see that's where we stalled out yesterday. So can we get that break above? Can we get that hold above? That's really what you're looking for on Apple here. That's what you're looking for on Apple here. If you can get that, look for that upside continuation, of course, on a strong NASDAQ. If you get a pullback, I like this level here first, this 192.50, right? I like this 192.50 level. That could be your little pullback watch. That is a high from last week, or 2 weeks ago Friday, a high from that Wednesday, right? And look at how Apple reacted to that level. Look at this, right? That's pretty textbook stuff, right? Look at that Apple intraday yesterday. Why did Apple wick here? And why did Apple bounce here, right? Why did it bounce here? And why did Apple bounce here at 192.50? Well, the reason for that is because of this 1 hour level, right? You guys can see right there. Why did Apple bounce off 192.50 intraday yesterday? It is because of these highs right here, right? So if you do get a pullback, right, that could be your little pullback level to look for that new long opportunity right there at 192.50, right? So that's what I'd be watching today. 192.50 pullbacks would probably give you the best opportunity for a long. If you get above this 194.50, then look for that long as well. If you break below 192.50, then you probably are looking back at that 190-120 level that we held yesterday, right? If you break below this low and you break back below these highs, right, then you're probably looking at the 190-120. All right, so those are your levels on Apple today. Watch out for that high, right, that 194.50, and then watch out for that 192.50 on Apple. Google. Big boy level here on Google, right? Very influential level, very important level. Let me put it that way. You guys can clearly see how important this level is going to be on the 15-minute, right? Look at this 15-minute chart and look at how important this 124.50 is going to be, right? We can see how many times you held it here, you held it here, you held it here, and you're trying to hold it here. So Google was one of the weaker tech names yesterday. We were all on top of this 126 bear flag in the chat yesterday. I know a few of you guys caught this one. This was really nice yesterday. This little supply rejection of 126 that caused downside. That was very clean yesterday. A little bit of underperformance on Google yesterday versus NASDAQ, which is something to notice. I'll go volume profile here just to sort of give you an idea of what I'm looking at. All right. There's your volume profile over the last week on Google. Volume does not step up until around this 121. All right, so you have a pretty interesting little little move here. All right, you got a pretty interesting little gap there on Google. Does it break under it? We'll see. Right, if the NASDAQ's strong, it probably will defend that 124.50 and will not break. If it does break, is there actual continuation? That's another question we'll have to see. But that's intriguing, right? That's intriguing. That 124.50 sort of shelf that's holding Google up for now. So definitely a major watch for me today, right? I'm going to see what happens at this level. If Google does break below, I'll be interested to see if I could play that slippage. If Google holds above, right, then it could just do another bounce within this channel, right? It doesn't have to happen today. It doesn't have to happen tomorrow. It doesn't have to happen next week. It could just continue to maintain in this sideways channel. But if we do get something under this level, right, I'm going to create an alert. At or below, I'm going to create an alert. If we get something below that level, right, that is definitely something I'll be monitoring. Okay. AMD. So AMD was able to break above this very important supply at 116.50 yesterday, right? We talked about this one, and it actually got nailed off this level right out of the gates yesterday, which was pretty crazy. Literally right at open, just a straight flush off that 116.50. Wasn't able to catch that. It was just too quick, too fast, but it grinded back all day. It grinded back all day. AMD was able to bounce off that 20 SMA at that 50 SMA as well and regain the 116.50 level. So this is interesting, right? Does AMD now try to turn this 116.50 level into a support, right? Do we now try to turn this 116.50 level into support? That's going to be something I watch today. Not sure I'm going to take this play. I don't know if I love it for upside continuation just because of the weakness I've seen on AMD. But I know that 116.50 has been major. So I know it's a good level to be monitoring. 122 is your supply above, right here. Right, you guys can see if I zoom in on the, I'm going to go hourly chart. That's actually where you rejected last week. So if I zoom in here on the hourly, you guys can see, right, 122, 122, 122, right? And then look at what did we do on last week on Friday, 122. So what do I think needs to happen to really get AMD to the upside? I think you really need to see us above 122, right? That's really what sets it up. That's really the safe long is over this 122, right? Because of that heavy supply that we've seen. But, you know, I sort of just want to monitor to see what does AMD do on a retest of 116.50. Are the buyers going to step in here? I think it's worth a watch. So watch 116.50 today and watch that 122 supply above. I will go to Nvidia. Nvidia, really solid hold yesterday, down at this 452, 453. I didn't really have this as a level because when I look at this chart and I go to the 15-minute, right, I didn't really have 453.20 as a level here. I would have liked to see the pullback to 450. That would have been nice, right? I would have liked to see this 450, this 450, and this 450. We didn't quite get it there, right? It sort of held around that 453.30, which is sort of a random level here, but it held nonetheless, right? Nice hold there. Nice push to the upside. Got back over 461.50 and got back over. This is the key now, right? This is the key. It got back over 465, right? Back over previous or intraday highs. So that is your watch now, right? Your watch now is previous day highs right there. 465, 465, and 465 if we get a pullback today. So where's the best long? If the market is maintaining, of course, right? If the market is maintaining, if the NASDAQ looks like it's holding up, where's the best long? 465 today on Nvidia. Retest the previous day highs and then see if that thing can hold. If we break back under previous day highs, right, be a little bit cautious of coming back into longs there, right? If we're under previous day highs, just be a little cautious of getting longs back into the previous rejection points, right? So 465, that's your level, right? That's your level today on Nvidia. 465 and 461.50 are the two levels that I'd be watching for potential pullback entries. What's NQ doing? All right, okay. The ES just slipped that level, so there's your little reactionary slip there, right? You can see right there a little slip under that 445.48. We'll see if it follows through, right? We've seen like these little slips that don't quite get any follow through lately, right? We've seen the follow through be sort of hard to get. So you got a little slip under that demand right now, 45.48, right? There's your little slip there. We'll see if that leads to a 45.40 test or if this thing just wants to whip right back above it, because we have seen some pretty crazy whips, right back above demand. So right now you are still holding that 15.8 on the NASDAQ futures. So if you're above that 15.8, this could still hold, right? This could still hold. All right, let's go Meta. Meta. So I held some Meta, right? And I love it. I love it. Here's the thing, right? I want to say something because now it's on my head. Someone really pissed me off this morning, and hey, here it comes. Come on in, right? This is it. I took Meta puts in the Discord chat yesterday, right? I took them live. You guys, if you're in the chat, you heard me enter them live. I absolutely nailed the top of day, right? We got Meta puts right at 310. I mean, literally at the top of the day is where I took Meta puts. These were up about 35%, right? I took Meta puts right here, right at 310. Nailed the entry. Beautiful entry. If you're in the chat, you know, right? I don't need to say it again. You guys know if you're in the voice chat, you heard me say it live. Took them right here, 35-40% on the downside, right? I took some profits down here. I took some profits, and if you didn't take profits, right? If you didn't take profits here, which I didn't take full profits, right? I didn't take full profits here. I was willing to hold more. I am willing to hold more because I took majority of profits here, and I'm okay with I'm comfortable with the size that I have in the position. I have a large portfolio, and I'm okay holding 4 to 5 to 6, whatever contracts, right? I'm okay risking that profit, right? That is comfortable for my account, right? But then you have people that come in today into the voice chat, and they say, why are you still holding Meta puts? You're losing on them. If you were going to follow, right? If you were going to follow someone else's trades, whether it's me, whether it's someone else online, right? This is a lesson for anyone that thinks you are going to be profitable by solely following someone else's trades. It is not going to work, right? Because let's say I take 50 contracts here and I sell 30 of them at the lows, right? And I hold some, and maybe I lose on the second, right? Maybe I lose on my third lot, right? The quarter lot that I'm holding, let's say I take a loss on those, right? Net, I'm still profitable on the position, and it's a very comfortable size that I'm holding for me personally, or for, let's say you're following, right? I'm not calling out, let's say you're following Carmine's trades or Jadun's trades or, Rake trades. Let's say you're following their trades, right? And I'm defending people that share their trades. And this is something you need to be aware of. If Rake takes a $20,000 loss, he's totally okay with that, right? That's part of his risk tolerance. If you follow him on that trade and you take a $20,000 loss, are you okay with that, right? That might be a very different story than what the person you're following is in. And you need to understand that, right? I do not cater the way I trade to people following me. I trade the way that I trade. I share what I do live. I share everything fully open. And if you're going to follow me, you better be ready for losses that I take as well, right? So you guys, it's not just me. Everyone out there that follows people's trades, that joins Discord chats just to simply follow someone else, you better have that mindset. Now, if you join a community to actually learn why people are trading and to use that education to cater your own trades, right? Use the education that you receive from my community, Carmine's community, Team Bull, wherever you are, right? Use their education to cater towards your trading strategy. Don't just follow the person that's trading, okay? Please understand this. This will take you much further than just solely following what someone's doing. I needed to get off, right? I needed to get that off my chest because I am profitable net on this meta position for me personally. Now, if you followed me and you didn't get out of your position, you are red and I am green. And that is the unfortunate truth, right? For some people that just simply follow. So why am I still in meta puts, right? Why did I hold some? Very easy, right? Very, very easy explanation. It is because you are still rejecting the previous day lows, right? You are still rejecting the previous day lows on meta, right? And that is why I held my meta puts. It's very much according to my strategy. There is nothing here that I am uncomfortable about, right? I held it because this was your previous low. This was your previous low. And you are still rejecting the previous lows, right? So I'm totally okay looking for downside continuation in a stock that is underperforming the NASDAQ and is continuing to downtrend, right? I am still seeing a downtrend on Meta, right? And I am still seeing us reject previous day lows. So when I saw that, I said, hey, I'm totally comfortable holding a few more here. I like the setup still. I'm still holding it, right? So I like it. If we get some NASDAQ weakness today, I think Meta could definitely reject here again, right? I am still looking for this downside continuation off this 310, 311 level, right? That's what I'm watching today. Larry, thank you, man. $10 donation. I appreciate that, Larry. As always, brother. Thank you for all the support. So I like this on Meta, 310, 311. Watching that here, definitely something I'm monitoring. And the other thing I'm sort of monitoring is whether, right, whether Meta continues in this little downtrend and wants to retest this 300 level, right? This 300 level right here. That's sort of what I'm looking for. We'll see, right? We'll see. We'll see if we get it. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I take it like a man. I'll probably make a video about it, and I'll understand why, right? I'll talk about why this went wrong, right? But it's a trade I like, and I am not going to exit it to cater towards, people following me. That's not what I do. I trade what I trade. Threads is dying. I hate Threads. I be careful. Here's what I will say. If I ever take a meta trade as of late, be careful following me because I can feel it. I'm conscious of my own feelings, right? I understand, where I am right now. I do not like Meta. And I think this is a problem that will probably cause me to lose some money on the trades. I have a little bit of I think the Threads is overvalued or overhyped. I haven't been on Threads since it started. I've seen a lot of other people say the same thing. I think a lot of people signed up for Threads because all you had to do was press a button on your Instagram and you instantly had an account, right? There was no account setup. You just press sign in and you have a Threads account. I haven't been on Threads since it started. It's going to be very difficult to get a large amount of people to adopt a new app that is pretty much the same as Twitter, right? So I don't know. I think it will be overhyped. I don't know when that comes out. I don't know how that comes out. But, yeah, I don't know. That's my gut feeling, but I don't know. We'll see. I don't know if that really affects the stock. That's the problem, right? I don't know if it really affects the stock. so to be, or so to say, right? Will Meta go down because of that? I don't know, right? But yeah, that's what I'm sort of thinking. I don't think that affects it in the short term, but technical setup still there. 310 supply. Watching that today on Meta. Tony, I appreciate that, man. Tony Melendez. Thank you, brother. All right, end phase. We're running out of time here, but the last thing I want to talk about is end phase. End phase has a gap fill above here, this yellow marked area. Watch this end phase gap level. Above 190, watch this gap, right? You got a big gap here above 190 into around this 215. It is rejecting that 190 right now, but watch this yellow area, right? You got a big gap here, but we have to hold over 190. You have to hold over 190. You got a daily chart gap. Keep an eye on this one. Could be interesting. All right. Fun live stream. I hope you guys enjoy it, right? Please don't take anything I say to heart. Please don't take anything sensitive, right? I am just who I am, right? I come here. I don't say anything too edgy. I just speak the truth, right? I talk about who I am, about how I trade, about, I hope it's a refresher to some of you out there, for someone online, to just be honest. So that's what I like to do. I have a great time doing it. Trust me, I never leave these live streams with any type of anger. I enjoy talking to you guys a lot. This is fun. This is fun stuff. This is like barbershop talk, as Gold Sauce would say, right? The barbershop talk, it's fun. It's a good time. I hope you guys enjoy it as well. Some of us won't agree with some of us, right? But that's what we, that's trading, right? That's the market. Some of you agree, some of you don't, right? But that's what creates a market, right? Some people will agree with something, someone will see something else. How do you make money in the market? At the end of the day, to make money in the market, you need to take it from someone else. So that's the game we play. I hope most of us here are right more than we are wrong. That's the goal. But we will always be wrong. We will always have, losses. It will happen. I can't delete my Instagram account winning. Firm handshakes. Hope you guys have a fantastic day. I got to get out of here and head over to the chat. Press that like button if you could before you head out. We have 700 likes. Let's get it to 1,000 if you guys could. Subscribe to the channel. And I will see you guys mañana. Peace.